Francis Bacon. Read, not to contradict or confute, not to believe in or take for granted, nor to find talk or discourse, but to weigh and consider. Put simply, learn to think, to consider, and then to act upon. That's it. My name is Bill. I've taken upon myself to, as I like to consider, foolishly remind people what they may have already forgotten. I have found a certain truth that is not taught in schools, and one of these aspects involves individuals having a strong core foundation of knowledge, something to always fall back on when the worst of the worst happens, when reality just crumbles before us. I've seen many cases of very intelligent individuals, very successful, have a death in the family, or some earth-shattering set of circumstances which plague an individual to the point that they break down and they can't handle what's there. Going to a psychiatrist, paying $150 an hour just to find out we don't like our mother or father, as if that's the answer to the fact that our world just crumbled around us. Well, my answer is this, and I think if we think about it in terms of the analogy of a foundation and what you build on it, the stronger your foundation, the less likely that is to happen. Now, in the real world, there are things that are going to happen to us that we are ill prepared for. Death is a bigger one. Pain and suffering from a loss of a job, divorce, heartbreak from a breakup with a girlfriend or boyfriend, betrayal of a friend, are just life itself not responding the way we want. All of these factors can lead us to question things, question who we are, question what we are. And when these things happen, they have some very good intentioned people out there, mostly with a religious background, that will come to you and they will try to sway you to their way of thinking. They will see your suffering and they will try to help you by sharing what they believe, by sharing their perspective, and try to convince you, but ultimately manipulate you into believing what they believe, or believing something similar to what they believe. And in the end, when you're at your most vulnerable, when you have fallen all the way down, and everything you think you knew is no more, is in doubt, they give you something to build on. They give you a foundation that you yourself did not consider, that you yourself did not come up with, that you yourself did not have to begin with. And you find yourself going from a successful businessman in Wall Street, being a little greedy, and you turn yourself into a born-again Christian where you're selling all your stuff for the betterment of the church. Now, some people listening would say, oh, that's a great thing. Others would say, no, that's not. That's not good. So what I'm proposing is this. Instead of waiting for that moment of vulnerability and weakness when something bad happens, like a death of a wife or child, why don't you prepare now? Establish a foundation that no one, no matter how good their intentions are, can come and persuade / manipulate you into seeing things their way. Because ultimately, you will be a changed person. And isn't it always better to have something to fall back on when these bad things happen? And so I put forth this proposition that if you were to sit down right now with your wife, with whoever's in your life, and just consider what you believe to be true. Consider what you know with 100% certainty that no death will ever challenge. Establish some simple, let's call them facts, that you know are true and nothing will ever be challenged. And I don't mean think about them, but just consider them and implant them in your head as true, as facts. This is true, this is what I know is true, and nothing will change that. I believe it wholeheartedly. I will argue this passionately in a debate. This is what I know. This foundation should and most likely will help you in your life, in the totality of your life. Because when these bad things happen, hopefully it won't be a death, but it will happen. Or it may be the loss of a job, betrayal, maybe it's some violent act that's put upon you. Maybe it's, who knows? I don't want to talk about all the bad things that could happen. But bad things will happen. And if you have a good foundation, if you have something to really fall back on, you will have a great chance at overcoming the hardship of your world crumbling down around you. I can think of many examples I've encountered, but I will take one example which has inspired me for this one point to make me consider the importance of it. There was a particular movie I saw, and it was about it's supposed to be a true story about a reporter who's an atheist, his wife who's agnostic, and I'm sure you've seen it. It was presented as sort of a movie with Christian undertones. The husband and wife has a daughter, and in the context of the story, she starts choking. Someone comes and helps her. The mother, who's agnostic, decides she wants to know more. She finds out the person that helped him is a Christian, and she was sort of inspired to go there by Jesus or God. The woman gets an interest in Christianity because she is agnostic and not totally committed to an atheist ideal. Even though the parents discussed this idea repeatedly, they never really embraced it and took it upon themselves as true. It was just an idea. But when their daughter's life was in the line, the woman was shaken to the bone. She didn't really have the answers. She had ideas. And she became more and more of a Christian, which her atheist husband did not agree with, to the point of causing possible divorce. Well, he goes on a crusade to disprove Christianity in the most ridiculous of ways, ultimately converting himself to being a Christian. Now, some would say, oh, it's a great story. He found faith. To me, I saw that as a couple that didn't really have a core foundation of what they thought they knew. They just had ideas. They never embraced it. They never took it in. They never considered the implications of what they were believing. Which brings me to my little point of all of this one section. And my time is coming close here. My point is a strong foundation. If you have it and you embrace it and you have it and you embed it into your core, and it is solid and it is unshakable, then you can most probably deal with these situations. In other words, you should be able to come and know what to expect. You're prepared for that death. You're prepared for it, and you have an answer. I myself have an answer for it, and when I saw this particular story and I got into it, I paused the movie and I actually considered my what I would do as the husband. Not that I'm an atheist, but in that situation, that topic should have been discussed, the topic of death and how they should respond to it. They never did. According to the movie, they just had an idea. But if you have a strong foundation, if you have embraced this idea, whatever the idea may be, to this question of death, to the death of near death of their daughter, then you should be able to come up with an understanding of what happened. And you should be able to move on, and you should be able to dissuade people, good-intended, good-hearted, intentionally good-minded individuals who want to come and help you. Now, in this movie, the Christian didn't go and try to convert them, but she was more than happy to go answer questions in her own way. And the agnostic woman was more than happy to take whatever this woman had to say, because her core beliefs weren't there. She had ideas, but that's all she had. And she never had a good foundation. And therefore, as a result of the husband and the wife not having a strong foundation, they were, in essence, converted to Christianity. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that the people they were no longer there. Now they were someone else. They became something that they detested before. They actually had a pretty good little argument in regards to that. But each and every one of us needs to have a strong foundation, because when these things happen, we need to be able to stand firm and say, no, I appreciate your help. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you're wrong about this. This is the right thing. You were wrong about that. And therefore, I will continue my life. You will not be vulnerable. You will not be shaken. Your world will not crumble around you, because you will still have your foundation. Because even if the house crumbles and falls, even if all your core knowledge just starts to become in doubt, that foundation is still there, and you can rebuild on that foundation. But if you lose that foundation, someone else will be more than happy to build another one for you. And the question is, do you want those other people to build that foundation for you? If you do, that's fine. If you want your own strong foundation, unquestionable, maybe you should consider what you truly know and adopt it, embrace it, and argue it to the very last breath. With that, I'll say bye. And I'll say this one thing. You should always be better today than tomorrow. And I'll do a disclaimer right here and now. I am a foolish man with little education, and I'm just asking you not to believe anything I say, but just consider what I have to say, because I could be wrong. I am a fool. I acknowledge it. And being a fool that I am, I will say that I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again. I feel I'm right about this, but you may see me as a complete idiot and fool, and I'm wrong. But just think about it. Would it benefit you? Would it really benefit you to have an unshakable foundation when these bad things happen? If you think yes, then find out what you believe. My second little section on this will go into detail about what I believe and how I came to that, and the various options that are out there for you. Because I like to say I've considered all the possibilities. And the next video will include all that. Thank you, and bye.